Hello students, today we are going to study the fourth chapter of First Flight from the diary of Anne Frank. Students, let us know about the authoress of this story. Anne Frank was a German Jew. She was born on 12th June 1929 and died in March 1945. The 12-year-old Jewish girl wrote the diary of Anne Frank while in hiding with her family and four friends in Amsterdam during the Nazis' occupation of the Netherlands in World War II. After 2 years in hiding, the group was betrayed and transported to a concentration camp in Bergen, where Anne and her elder sister Margot died of typhus in 1945. Her father Otto, the only survivor of the group, found her diary and got it published in English under the name The Diary of a Young Girl. Students, let's begin the text. We will go through the text and try to comprehend the meaning of the text. Writing in a diary is a really strange experience for someone like me. Not only because I have never written anything before, but also because it seems to me that later on neither I nor anyone else will be interested in the musings of a 13-year-old schoolgirl. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I feel like writing and I have an even greater need to get all kinds of things off my chest. Means to remove the burden. Here, in the first paragraph, Anne Frank thinks that writing a diary is a strange experience for her. She has never written anything like this before. She feels that no one else except her will be interested in the musings, that means in the idea of a 13-year-old school girl. She writes it for herself. She wants to get all kinds of things of her chest, means she just want to remove the burden from her chest. Now, the next paragraph. Paper has more patience than people. I thought of this saying on one of those days when I was feeling a little depressed and was sitting at home with my chin in my hands, bored and listless, wondering whether to stay in or go out. I finally stayed where I was brooding. Yes, paper does have more patience. And since I am not planning to let anyone else read this stiff pegged notebook, grandly referred means pointed to as a diary, unless I should ever find a real friend, it probably won't make a bit of difference. Now I am back to the point that prompted me to keep a diary in the first place. I don't have a friend. Here, in this paragraph, Annie feels that paper has more patience than people. There was a time when she was a little depressed and sat at home. She doesn't want anyone else except her to read her stiff backed notebook unless she finds a real friend. She keeps the diary as she does not have a friend. Now, the next paragraph. Let me put it more clearly, since no one will believe that a 13-year-old girl is completely alone in the world. And I am not. I have loving parents and a 16-year-old sister, and there are about 30 people I can call friends. I have a family, loving aunts, and a good home. No, on the surface means outwardly, I seem to have everything except my one true friend. All I think about when I am with friends is having a good time. I can't bring myself to talk about anything but ordinary, everyday things. We don't seem to be able to get any closer, and that's the problem. Maybe it's my fault that we don't confide in each other. In any case, that's just how things are. And unfortunately, they are not liable to change. This is why I have started the diary. To enhance the image of this long awaited friend in my imagination, I don't want to to write down the facts in this diary the way most people would do. But I want the diary to be my friend, and I am going to call this friend Kitty. Here, in this paragraph, Annie writes that outwardly there are about 30 people whom she can call friends. She has a family, loving aunts, and a good home. She has loving parents and 16-year-old sister, but still she feels all alone. She can only talk about ordinary things with them. They are not able to come closer. This is the problem. They can't confide in each other. Maybe it is her own fault. This is why she has started the diary, and she wants her diary to be her friend, and she calls her diary her friend Kitty. Means she addressed her diary in the name of Kitty. Now let's begin the next page. Since no one would understand a word of my stories to Kitty if I were to plunge right in, I had better provide a brief sketch of my life. Much as I dislike doing so, my father, the most adorable father I have ever seen, didn't marry my mother until he was 36 and she was 25. My sister Margaret was born in Frankfurt in Germany in 1926. I was born on 12th June 1929. I lived in Frankfurt until I was 4. My father emigrated, that means settled abroad to Holland in 1933. My mother, Edith Hollander Frank, went with him to Holland in September, while Margaret and I were sent to Aachen to stay with our grandmother. Margaret went to Holland in December, and I followed in February when I was punked down, that means put down or set down on the table as a birthday present for Margaret. I started right away at the Montessori nursery school. I stayed there until I was 6, at which time I started in the first form. In the sixth form, my teacher was Mrs. Copres. the headmistress. At the end of the year, we were both in tears as we said a heartbreaking farewell. Here, form means class. In the summer of 1941, grandma fell ill and had to have an operation. So, my birthday passed with little celebration. Grandma died in January 1942. No one knows how often I think of her and still love her. This birthday celebration in 1942 was intended, means desired to make up for the other, and grandma's candle was lit along with the rest. The four of us are still doing well, and that brings me to the present date of 20th June 1942 and the solemn dedication of my diary. Here, throughout this paragraph, Anne Frank gives the brief sketch of family. She calls her father the most adorable father. He married at 36 when her mother was 25. Her sister Margaret was born in 1926, while she was born on 12th June 1929. They emigrated to Holland in 1933. She got her education there. In 1942, her grandma died. Anne started writing her diary on 20th June 1942. Now, the student, let's come to the next page. Dearest Kitty, here Anne Frank calls her diary Dearest Kitty. Our entire class is quaking in its boots. The reason of course, is the forthcoming meeting in which the teachers decide who will move up to the next form, next class, and who will be kept back. Half the class is making bets. Jian and I laugh ourselves silly at the two boys behind us, Cian and Jacques, who have staked their entire holiday savings on their beds. From morning to night, it's you are going to pass. No, I am not. Yes, you are. No, I am not. Even Jess pleading glances means looks and my angry outbursts can't calm down. If you ask me, there are so many dummies, means fools, that about a quarter of the class should be kept back. But teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on earth. I am not so worried about my girlfriends and myself. We'll make it. The only subject I am not sure about is maths. Anyway, all we can do is wait. Until then, we keep telling each other not to lose heart. I get along pretty well with all my teachers. There are nine of them, seven men and two women. Mr. Kissing, the old foggy, that means old fashioned, who teaches maths, was annoyed with me for ages because I talked so much. After several warnings, he assigned me extra homework and essay on the subject a chatterbox. A chatterbox means very talkative. What can you write about that? I would worry about that later. I decided. I jotted down, means noted down the title in my notebook, tucked it in my bag, and tried to keep quiet. That evening, after I had finished the rest of my homework, the note about the essay caught my eye. I began thinking about the subject while chewing the tip of my fountain pen. Anyone could ramble on, means talk or write aimlessly for long, and leave big spaces between the words. But the trick was to come up with convincing arguments to prove the necessity of talking. I thought that and thought, and suddenly I had an idea. I wrote the 3 pages Mr. Kissing had assigned me and was satisfied. I argued that talking is a student's trait and that I would do my best to keep it under control. Here, in this paragraph, Annie tells about the class. Class shaking with fear. The entire class is shaking with fear. The teachers will decide in the next meeting who will move up and who will be kept back. She realizes that at least there are about a quarter of students who are totally worthless and should be kept back. But it is difficult to predict about the decision of the teachers. She is not much worried about herself and her girlfriends. She is not very sure about maths. She has good relations with her teachers. Mr. Kissing, the math teacher, is an old fashioned teacher. He doesn't like her because she talks too much. Here, in the next paragraph, but that I would never be able to cure myself of the habit since my mother talked as much as I did, if not more, and that there's not much you can do about inherited traits. Mr. Casing had a good laugh at my arguments, but when I proceeded to talk my way through the next lesson, he assigned me a second essay. This time it was supposed to be on an incorrigible chatterbox. Incorrigible means that cannot be corrected. I handed it in, and Mr. Casing had nothing to complain about for 2 whole lessons. However, during the third lesson, he would finally he had finally he would finally had enough. Anne Frank, as punishment for talking in class, write an essay entitled "Quack Quack Quack," said Mr. Chatterbox. The class wrote. I had to laugh too, though I had nearly exhausted. That means tired. That means tired. My ingenuity on the topic of chatterbox it was time to come up with something else, something origin, something original. My friend Sen, who's who is good at poetry, offered to help me write the essay from beginning to end in verse, and I jumped for joy. Mr. Kissing was trying to play a joke on me with this ridiculous subject, but I would make sure the joke was on him. I finished my poem and it was beautiful. It was about a mother duck and a father swan with three baby ducklings who were beaten to death by the father because they quacked too much. Luckily, Mr. Kissing took the joke the right way. He read the poem to the class, adding his own comments and to several other classes as well. Since then, I have been allowed to talk and haven't been assigned any extra homework. On the contrary, Mr. Kissing's always making jokes these days. Here, throughout this paragraph, Annie tells about the essay she was given to write. She was given an essay on the topic a chatterbox. The math teacher gives her some extra work to write an essay on a chatterbox. She writes 3 pages. She argues in the essay that talking is a student's trait. She promises to keep it under control. She feels that she will never be able to cure herself of the habit. Her mother also talked as much as she does. It is an inherited trait. Mr. Kissing has a good laugh at her arguments in the essay. He assigns her a second essay on incorrigible chatterbox, finally, as punishment for talking in the class. He gives her another essay on quack quack quack, said Mistress Chatterbox. The class gives a roar of laughter. Her friend Sane is good at poetry. She offers to help her. Annie wants to turn the table on Mr. Kissing. She finishes the poem about a mother duck and a father swan with three baby ducklings. They are beaten to death by the father because they quack too much. Mr. Kissing understands the poem and its message in the right way. Since then, she has been allowed to talk. She has not been assigned with any extra homework. So, student, that's all about this chapter. I hope that you have understood well. Thanks.